Hey everyone, Pastor Andrew back again with another Wednesday Word and another edition of Ask the Pastor. This question came in a couple of weeks ago and I've been kind of reflecting on it. The question is, why do pastors wear all those crazy robes and other things like that on Sunday mornings? Of course, you're aware that across Christianity there are wide variations in style and things like that, and so in a lot of places, they don't wear those robes. So why do a lot of Lutheran pastors wear them? There are two answers to this question. The first one is the historical question, and the second one is the sort of theological or liturgical question. So why do we wear them as a matter of history? It actually goes back to fairly early in the church's history, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th century, when the church was becoming more established, not only as an institution, but as a part of the Roman Empire. And a lot of the vestments that are worn by modern-day clergy are actually derived from the courtly dress of those early centuries. They were the sort of things worn by dignitaries. And so because clergy were revered and they had this certain status, they would wear these vestments to signal their being set apart. That explanation is not terribly great for our current practice, and so over the centuries we came to look at particular reasons for wearing those vestments on an ongoing basis. The white robe, for example, is called an alb from the Latin word albus, which means white. We're very original in the church. And that came to be understood as signifying the garment put on in baptism. And so in modern practice, there is a shared understanding among people in liturgical churches that that white robe is supposed to be a sort of status leveler, that no matter what you came to worship in, if you're serving in a leadership position, you put on this robe to signify that we're all united in baptism. Then there are the other symbols like the colored stole over the neck, symbolic of the yoke that pastors take on to care for God's people in their ordination. There's the bigger poncho-style thing called a chasuble, which is strictly a vestment for use at Eucharistic services, and so that's why you'll see me put it on at the altar right before communion if I haven't been wearing it for the whole service, because it's really intended to denote the person who presides at Holy Communion. And there are all kinds of other vestments that are used in the Eastern Church that we don't really have any experience with, and there are some other ones that are less common in the West but becoming more common, like the diagonal deacon's stole that signifies that particular ministry. In some places, clergy will wear something that looks sort of like a towel draped over their wrist to signify the service of Christ in washing his disciples' feet. But that, in a nutshell, is why we wear the vestments that we wear. There's this historic tradition, but also an understanding that these things can symbolize really powerful ideas. This summer I'm trying something new, and I'm going to be wearing less of those things, and that may feel odd for some of you. I know it feels odd to me, but besides it being cooler in the summer months, it's intended to be a way of understanding that those vestments are something that can bring something to our services but are not necessary or required to have liturgical worship. And so I hope to see you in church wearing less than the robe and all that stuff that I normally wear, and continuing to be engaged in worship and fellowship and prayer with all of you. Thanks for your questions. Keep them coming. We'll tackle another one next week on our Wednesday Word. See ya.